Hi all, and welcome to another video of Bonsai Tutorials with me. And today we'll be talking to you about how to take care of your bonsai plant. The first most important component, which many of you would think is very obvious, is watering your plants. You have to water your plants two times a day. Once in the morning and once in the night. But it also depends on your plant to plant. So please be careful, and you might even want to search up on the net how much water your plant needs. The second most important but obvious question is to put it in direct sunlight every single day. So many of you, I understand, would live in condos, especially in the KL and Montclair area. So to keep your bonsai, to give your bonsai as much light as possible is very, very important for their growth. Then there's also the part of putting in organic and natural fertilizer in the soil at least once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. This is to keep your soil very nutrient rich and helps your bonsai grow and develop. The next part of your bonsai is this. This is what's going to happen to your bonsai after 1, 2, or 3 months, depending on the amount of water it gets, amount of sun it is under. This plant is called Ferma sectrifolius. I apologize if I'm wrong with the pronunciation, but this plant is basically around 2 months old. It was actually very trimmed 2 months earlier, and what I would need to do is trim all these big leaves to make it look like a bonsai tree again. So what I would need is a scissor. I'm gonna use my wire cutter because it's really easy for me, and I'm just gonna cut all these branches back into shape. So how I'm gonna do it is like this. So for example, let's take this portion of the branch here. As you can see, it looks like a small bush, and it looks like the highest part here would be this one. So I'm just gonna cut off a little bit above the node here, above these 2 leaves, and I'm just gonna cut it off. And see how it looks okay. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for all of these leaves. Cut them back so they look even and nice and leveled with the And as you further grow and trim your bonsai, you will start seeing that the branches are getting harder. That means your tree is getting more matured, and there would be a less and less frequency needed of you trimming your trees. So that's it. I'm done. Oh, and don't forget to pull out the weeds if there are any. Always want to give your tree some breathing space. Okay, so next part of taking care of your bonsai is repotting. Every once or twice year, every once in a year or in 2 years, you would need to repot your plant. How do you know when you repot your plant? It is when there's very less water coming out of the pot when you pour the water in, when you're watering your plant, or it just looks like it's dying. Step 1 of repotting is to strip all the leaves off the tree. But remember, this step is only for trees such as the Premna ceratifolia or the water jasmine, and not for trees like the juniper tree or the buxus tree. Please keep this in mind. Instead, for trees such like juniper or buxus plant, you would instead just go to step 2. So just fast forward this video a little bit. Don't forget to pull out the weeds as well, and your tree should be looking barren like that. Okay, now it's time for trimming. Find your wire cutter, like I am, and I'm gonna find it, and I'm still not back. Oh, here I am. Okay, trim from 1 or 2 nodes after the tree has grown, the green branch. It just depends on how you want it to look like, and sometimes you just might not even want that branch that has grown out, or you might want to cut it after a node or even 3 nodes, just depending on how you want your tree to look like. Okay, so it looks like we're kind of done with the trimming part, and now we're gonna take the plant out of the pot. So you're just gonna tap on the side of the pot quite hard, and it should come out like so. And then just take it to a flat surface and start smashing the plant on it like so. So most of the soil comes out. Shake it as well. So what you're trying to do is trying to loosen the roots and take out all or most of the soil, and then also use a chopstick, kind of like a chopstick or a fork, whatever you want, and loosen your roots so most of the stubborn mud or soil parts come out. Don't worry if some of your roots come out in the process. It's okay, it's all right. It happens. Okay, next step is to wash your roots. Just wash until the water that is coming out from the roots turns white. And also make sure to get all the mud and soil and dirt from the tight spots on the base of the trunk. scrub them all out and really nicely. Okay, so after a thorough wash, what you are going to do is start cutting your roots. What you will do is for the really, really thick branches like that, thick roots like that, you will cut at 1 centimeter after the base of the trunk, like that. But for the really thin and fibrous roots, 2 centimeters. Give 2 centimeters of roots before cutting them. This is to reduce the root clutter and allow your tree to breathe more. Okay, so there's not really much next to do, but to choose your pot. When you're choosing your pot, just try to see one that fits nicely but isn't too big or too small. Okay, so the next step is to take a piece of green net like that and stick a piece of wire between it, so like a U, and then stick that wire in to the pot like so. This is to keep the net is to keep your soil from leaking out of the hole and stop yet letting the water run out. And then make a hook of some sort around of the ledges of the pot, and this is to keep your net at its place. Okay, now after the net, fill your pot 1/4 the way through with soil and place your tree inside it, and just place it however you want, center, to the side, slanted a little bit, whatnot, and then we start to make it more sturdy and stand in place. The next step is to take a piece of wire and make it into a U. Then twist the rounded side of it like a coil and poke the two ends of the wire through the hole in the pot like so. Just poke through the hole and the net. Then bring up the two ends of the wire and stretch them out, and put the put the plant or the tree between the two pieces of the wire, or two ends of the wire, and then place your tree. After placing your tree, just bend the wire around the tree trunk on both sides, and this is to make the tree stand tall and firm. After this, just fill your pot with soil up until the brim, and then poke some holes using the same chopstick to loosen the soil and help it just take its place. So the last step to repotting is to water your plant. Just make sure all of your soil is wet, but do not let it escape like I am doing there. And that's all. And repotting is the only other thing you need to know about taking care of your plant. And this is the end of the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, just leave comments below. And I hope you have enjoyed this duology of bonsai videos. If you have already not, check out my video before on how to do bonsai, and I really hope that these two videos have sparked some interest in bonsai for you guys. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.